everybody back in to camps, get everybody healthy, and then get everybody in a bubble. And then remember, they don't actually even start till the 31st. So they set that out there so that way people could get in, get tested, get healthy, and then start the season. So that is the one upside to pushing it out. You know, like I said before, I almost wish they would have just did it, got it over with, but I think they were trying to deep down think that time would help. And unfortunately for them playing in Florida, time is hurting. And from what I'm hearing, there is no plan B. It's Florida or bust. They're not going to go back to cities. They're not going to move it. So it's either happening in Florida or it's not happening. So the NBA is rolling. I know I've said 1,000 times, I think the season is disjointed. I'm not a big fan of it, but I understand the money. And the NBA is they're going to deliver these games because they want that money. The players want the money. The owners want the money. The coaches want the money. The TV advertisers want the money. They're going to deliver these games. Come hell or high water.
Yes, and I think that's what's driving most leagues is that. Just that, the money, the TV deals, because if not, they're going to, better to have some season than not at all, because they're going to, and I said this before, they're going to lose a lot more, at least the league is, the teams, that varies, but definitely it's a major impact.
It's all driven by the money. It has always been driven by the money in every league. Baseball showed us it's about the money. And the only thing that baseball did well is they didn't try to cover the wool, the wool cover. Excuse me, I can't speak. Pull the wool over anyone's eyes. They told you from Jump Street it's about the money. And
and I think that's the one thing. Sorry, I think that's the one thing.
No,
I believe MLB did right was expose that was the issue that they were having, and why they wouldn't come to an agreement was just that.
Yeah, I just wish they would have kept that behind closed doors because they looked bad. That made them look bad.
Yeah.
But it doesn't. I mean, as long as it got worked out. But in terms of hoops, they're playing full speed ahead. They're balling full speed ahead. Come hell or high water.
Mm-hmm. And then just talking about money and going back to baseball a little bit, because I forgot to bring this up. Forgive me, but for just talking about the money, minor league teams are suing 5 insurers. So baseball teams are alleging that actions and inaction of federal and state governments contribute to catastrophic financial losses. What do you think is going to come out of that? Minor leagues are not,
I don't know.
They're not playing. Nothing has been said about, that they're going to have a season, they're going to come back, which is more than likely not going to happen for all these minor league teams. So they're taking a hit, major impact, but this seems like it's, this is all minor league teams that are suing. How big is it going to be?
Yeah. You know what? Don't know. Honestly, that's. I'm going to defer to you on that one because I don't know.
I don't know, to be honest. It could possibly be turned into something huge. I think so. Especially if they do not have a season, and then exactly, I don't know exactly how much big of an impact they took and hit. Because yes, minor league. This is all minor leaguers. If they don't play, they're not getting paid. Period. Not only the players, but the teams. Everybody involved. So if there was something that that did affect them, no action, either actions or inactions that kept them or may harm them in any way, I think it could turn into something big. And it's 5 insurers that they're suing, not just one. So it'll be a developing story and see how this all plays out. But I just thought I would bring that up because, money. Conversation about money. And all of us around that.
Money, money, money.
Yeah.
The root of all evil.
Indeed. It depends on who you ask, I think. I don't know, just saying.
I know people with money don't say that. Poor people say that. It's like when rich people say, "Oh, I'm not rich. My parents." When real rich people, when they hit you with, "Oh, I'm not rich. My parents are." Yeah, okay.
Right.
Only rich people use that line. I'm not rich. My parents are rich. When's the last time you heard someone say? When was the last time you heard someone say, "I'm not poor. My parents are poor"?
Never.
Never. Ever.
Yep. Indeed. And one of the things I've been thinking too, with all, as we have sports coming back and all these agreements and players returning, I'm just full of questions. I don't know the details for each league, but if they're not already doing it, would it be a good idea? I think so. Should we be seeing players, athletes, teams, leagues enforcing this as to having everyone in a quarantine period before they report to facilities, to camps, to training, to, all of it, do a 2-week quarantine just all across, each league? Is that a bad idea? Is that a good idea? I think, especially with all of these players that we're seeing across all these leagues testing positive for the virus.
Well, I don't think it's a bad idea. I think almost every sport is almost trying to do that without officially doing it. With football, you got it. With that one, I'm going to say not as much, just because their season doesn't even start till September. So even if they were going to do something like that, they wouldn't do it now. Basketball, in essence, is doing it. They're playing in a bubble. And so by the time they get to the bubble, they will all technically be quarantined before they play the first game. You know what I mean? So that's going to be – so I think they're all sort of doing it without officially doing it, if that makes any sense.
Mm-hmm.
I think basketball is the only one that's doing the bubble thing. You got to remember, too, there's a lot of people that just – they don't want to do that. I mean, look at the issues that basketball is having with guys really not wanting to go into a bubble. That's a lot to give up. And so quarantining for 2 weeks, that may be great, but what are you going to do? Put them all in a hotel and then lock them up and tell them they can't come out for 2 weeks? I mean, that's really the only way that you could make that work. And I don't think players' unions are ready to sign off on that.
Just a thought I had.
Yeah, no, it's a good thought. I just don't think they'll get that signed off. And that's the key. You got to get the unions to sign off. And I don't know if that's something that they would be, all set to sign off on that quick. Hell, we could barely get them back in. So I don't think they're ready to sign off on too much more.
Yeah, I think that will be difficult for it to for you to enforce it. Like they're saying, put everybody together in a hotel before everything starts, and lock them up. You can't go anywhere unless it's within this vicinity. Totally agree. Not a bad idea. Just because everybody that's testing positive, some are in their home state, in their team state. Some are back, home, or where they call home, or out of the country, or whatever it may be. So I think it would reap so many benefits to get the unions and anything like that signed off on it and agreed upon, and to enforce it won't be easy. I agree.
Yeah, the idea is a great idea. I just don't think they'll ever sign off on something like that.
So we'll just see it all unfold and develop as we go on each day, and seeing how NBA, goes about, how MLB now making a return, how all that unfolds. NHL event, it's also in those steps as well. So, we'll be keeping watch.
Yeah. Yep. We'll see how it all works out, and I just don't think you'll see anyone else go in a bubble. I think this was it. This is the one league that tried it. Valiant idea, but I don't think it's going to jump off for anybody else at all. I think this was it. This was the bubble wrap attempt.
Just put everybody in a bubble wrap. Can we do that?
Yeah, huh? That'd be different. That would be different. Yeah, this was the one try.
Hey, what's a try, right?
Yep.
And another one who made a try at this, and well, not this exactly, but made a try and had an investigation around it, and the incident that happened over the weekend with Bubba Wallace. There was a news found on his garage stall, NASCAR. FBI came in, did a full investigation within a matter of days, which I think was a real quick turnaround. But the findings were that Wallace was not a target of a hate crime, is what that resulted in. So for those that aren't aware, we dove a little bit in, if you're listening in, dove a little bit more into this in our vlog on Monday. So I highly recommend that you check it out. But there was full investigation by NASCAR. FDA came in, news was found, him thinking that it was Bubba Wallace was a target, that this was directed at him. Well, it comes out to that the news has actually been there since October 2019. So, and saying that it was just, that's the use, I forgot what the term was, but just, a rope, for the abuse for, something else. But indeed, they confirmed that it's actually in a form of a noose. So, my big question here is, we're not in the climate that we're in now, and this were to happen, would the FBI would have been brought in? Would the investigation have been differently? If so, or just overall, if it wasn't for what's happening now in the world?
Okay. So here's what I don't understand. So someone who's not Bubba Wallace saw news, what they thought was the news, reported it to NASCAR, reported it to the police. They came down, in essence, and did an investigation and found out that it wasn't that it ended up being a door pull. And instead of people saying, wow, that's a good thing, it's okay to investigate and do it, they want to say, well, no one should have said anything. They should have, no matter what you do, there are going to be, the Clay Travises, the Will Canes, the Jason Whitlocks, the Meg Kellys. They're going to find a negative in that. So we don't want to talk about the racer, I can't think of his name right now, who said he wishes it was a noose and they should have tied it around Bubba Wallace's neck because he's ruined the sport and they should drag him around the racetrack. We don't want to talk about that. We don't want to talk about a Confederate flag flying above the track. We don't want to talk about all the people driving up and down the street in front of the track with the Confederate flag.